Okay, I know from the title, this video seems super random, but I cooked with this one. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section after you watch it. Always love talking to y'all, and like, subscribe, blah blah blah. Boom. Now, Android 16 from Dragon Ball Z and Scarecrow, one of Batman's villains, share a philosophy that is two sides to the same coin. Think like yin and yang. Android 16 believes that living in fear is not how you should live your life, while Scarecrow believes that life is meaningless without fear. Almost the same thing, but digging a little deeper into each character for clarity's sake. Android 16 was made in the lab with the sole purpose of killing Goku. Unlike the other androids 17 and 18, he was not a human before and therefore doesn't feel emotions like fear, but was only programmed to be aware of its existence. He just watched this man cell body everybody, and he still told Android 18,
16, what do you think you're doing? Come back! You'll be killed!
That does not matter. Life is good, but living in fear is not my idea of living.
He stated that he was going to kill Cell because he wanted to save the Earth, which he said was a good place. He had no ulterior motives and even went against his programming and sole purpose of killing Goku, all so that his android siblings and the birds would get to continue living. Fear did not stop Android 16 from doing what he wanted to do. With Scarecrow, he controlled people through fear and wanted all of Gotham to see that Batman was nothing to fear, especially to the likes of himself. He believes that fear is the awareness of risk. Nothing to lose, nothing to fear, then nothing to live for. It's more than an instinct. True fear is the absence of hope. In Scarecrow's world, he feels like as long as Gotham has Batman, they can't experience true fear, which is ironic because in the end, when Batman injected him with his own fear toxin, Scarecrow's biggest fear was an enraged swarm of bats. But bullied in his youth, Scarecrow vowed to overcome his fears through the study of psychology and biochemistry on phobias and the nature of fear, which was the beginning of his supervillain origins. Now that we understand how both Android 16 and Scarecrow thinks, I wanted to make this video to ask you, what would you attempt if you just knew that you couldn't fail? Would it be talking to women? Would you start working out and getting jacked? Do you write a book? Whatever it is, those same things you might have mentioned in your head, what's stopping you from doing it right now? Is it too much hard work? Maybe it's the fear of failure, maybe it's your current circumstances, but you take action when your belly's rumbling. But you don't have that same sense of urgency when you can't afford rent this month. At the end of the day, it's just a question of how badly do you want it, right? You need to eat to survive, so you'll do it. But rent could be figured out in a couple of weeks because with humans, when survival is in question, it is the biggest issue of our lives. But the moment it is taken care of, it doesn't seem to mean anything. Somehow for a human being, life doesn't seem to end with survival, but it begins with it. Today as a generation, we could go to the supermarket and buy everything you need for an entire year, even without stepping out of your home. Never before in human history has that ever been possible. We're the most comfortable generation to have ever lived on this planet, but unfortunately, we're definitely not the most joyful, or the most loving, or the most peaceful, or etc. Everything you've done in your life so far has been in pursuit of one thing: joy. When you sought a career, started a business, made money, or started a family, it was for that one purpose, but then life got complicated. Most people have not had an entire day full of bliss, without a moment of anxiety, agitation, irritation, or stress. Of course, there isn't a single person who hasn't experienced joy, but it is always fleeting and we're constantly unable to sustain it, with even little things like being stuck in traffic or minor inconveniences being able to throw people off. You go outside and somebody tells you that you're beautiful, and that'll make your day. But then you go home and your family tells you how it really is, that you look like a pig, and then everything comes crashing. So why do you need to feel pleasant within? Because when you're in that state of mind, you're naturally pleasant to everyone and everything around you. No scripture or philosophy is needed to instruct you to be good to others. It's a natural outcome when you feel joy within yourself. Inner pleasantness is a pivotal thing needed for the making of a peaceful society and a joyful world. It is also pivotal for your success in the world, as it depends essentially on how well you harness the prowess of your body and mind. Pleasantness has to be the fundamental quality within you. So if I want to be a successful salesman, for example, you're not going to want to buy from the grumpy, I'm not even gonna say old man, it doesn't even matter. You're not gonna want to buy from a grumpy dude that's giving you bad customer service. You want to buy from the guy that's, giving you good energy and making you feel good. That's the fundamental quality within you has to be pleasantness. If you could choose between joy and misery, most people would choose to feel joy, and it's self-evident in our lifestyle, from making money or attempting to get into heaven. Pleasantness is the only goal, even if you say you're not interested in this world. If you grew up being told that God lived in heaven and it sucked, would you want to go there? No, because most people aren't trying to buy a ticket to hell, right? The only thing that stands between you and your well-being is the simple fact: you have allowed your thoughts and emotions to take instruction from the outer rather than the inner, the outside rather than the inside. Unless we do the right things will not happen to us, and nothing changes if nothing changes. The way out of misery is a very simple change in direction. You may use the outside as a stimulus or a trigger, but the real thing always comes from inside. Do you have a fear of failure? Fear of change? Fear of snakes? Fear of dates? Does fear actually give meaning to life, like Scarecrow says? Most people would probably disagree with this statement, since you don't want to be worrying 24/7. But on the contrary, what about the fear of death? Without the fear of death, would we have any desire to live? Without fear, nothing would stop you from doing what you want to do. Isn't that like a little scary, since like theoretically I could just go kill somebody without any like moral issues, or I wouldn't worry about getting into heaven or going to prison or being killed for my actions and revenge, since I'm not afraid of anything. I want to conclude the video by going over my main talking points, which starts with the fact that your inner world creates your outer world. You're allowed to feel afraid, and you shouldn't let anybody invalidate your feelings. But at the same time, that doesn't mean you have to freeze up when you feel fearful. Android 16 walked into battle against Cell knowing nobody else had a chance against him, because living in fear is not a life worth living to him. While Scarecrow understands the power and psychology behind fear, trying to use it to control everybody else. Another point I wanted to make was that you ultimately choose if you want to have a happy life or not. Just because there's a lot of traffic on the road doesn't mean you're gonna have a bad day. No, that's not something you can control. Think 90-10 rule. It's your choice. It is your choice. Oh, but no, my relative died. Okay, that's sad. I'm not saying you're not allowed to feel the way you're feeling, but ultimately, if you wanted to be happy, if you had a desire to be happy, you know how to make yourself happy. So you would in that same scenario where your mom died, I don't think you'd want to be happy in the moment, so you're choosing not to. But at the end of the day, it's still a choice. Anyways, that's it for today. I was going through my old videos, and I made two kind of similar videos on Scarecrow and Android 16. Thought I would just combine them, just cause it just made sense to me. Let me know what you guys think about this one. Let's go for 10 likes. Toodles.